Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cheat Code Jiu-Jitsu. Jeff here again. We're getting towards the end of our bottom lockdown series, and there's one more thing I wanted to talk about before we close this out completely, and that is a position called the Grapevine Grip. It's not specifically a lockdown position itself, but there's a very easy way to get from the lockdown into the grip. It's not something I developed. I actually, interestingly enough, got this off of a YouTube channel like 10 years ago called Train, Fight, Win. It hasn't been updated in like 4 or 5 years, but I kind of wish they would. They actually had some pretty good stuff on there. But I found this off of there, and it's something I've been working on, doing various different things with for a few years now. And there's a good, easy way to get there from the lockdown, but it can be done from just about any style of guard underneath. And it really works out well because it locks up both of your opponent's hands, takes away a lot of their posts and a lot of the defense that they can make to different sweeps and different submissions. So I'm going to show you how to set up the grip today, and then show you a couple of sweeps, one in each direction, and then come back for our next video. Next couple of videos we'll explore some submission options off of the Grapevine Grip. So fun position, I really like it. Stay tuned. So the first thing I want to talk about is what the grip is itself. When I'm actually down in guard, it's kind of difficult to see. So with nobody in front of Chris, this is going to come from an overhook position. So when I'm underneath them and I catch my overhook, that's kind of the beginning of it. And I can't do a shallow overhook. It has to be super deep because I got to get my hand on his chest. So this hand goes to the chest in the overhook, and then I'll show you how I kind of get in there and set it up, but I have to reach out and grab the other hand. I can either do an over grip like this or an under grip, either one. But I got to grab his wrist, and then I'm pushing his hand into his chest here, and then I'm grabbing my own wrist, similar to like I do with a Kimura. So done correctly, this should largely immobilize that arm, because he's not going to be able to stick it out to post anymore. He's still got a little bit of mobility with his elbow. We'll show in some of these videos what you can do to address that. But that arm should largely be out of the equation now. And then also this arm, I've got a good tight overhook on it. He shouldn't be able to really do a whole lot with that. And so ideally, if I've done this all correctly, for at least a short period of time until he can work his way out of there, he shouldn't really have any ability to do much of anything with either one of his arms. So let's talk about how to get into this from lockdown. So like I said, this is not specifically a lockdown technique and can be done from just about any style of guard. If I'm in lockdown and I can't get my double underhooks, Chris has got his underhook on this far side, I'm working, I just can't get anything going, but I've got my overhook and I'm already at least partially out on my side, I'm in pretty deep here. So now the target is to get this hand inside. There's a couple of ways that I can do that. Probably the two most common that I do are if I can take a thumb up under grip on this, then I can just push that hand out. Most people do not like being in this position. You can already see that his base was broken a little bit. There's some meat hook, rubber guard transitions that I can do from here. This is just bad news all around. So most people want to retract that hand and pull it back in rather than allowing me to keep it pushed out. I use the timing on that, and when Chris pushes his hand back in, I turn that over, I stuff it to his chest, and then I grab my own wrist. And so now I've got him locked up. The other way that I can get this off of the lockdown in particular is a very simple basic transition off of just about any style of half guard, is to try to bring this leg out so that I can re-guard in some way. Very common counter to that from Chris's perspective is I try to bring this out, and he's just going to put his hand there because obviously he doesn't want that to come out any farther. So I'm going to reverse my grip and go palm up this time, but I'm going to take that directly to the wrist. Not uncommon for me to not just simply be able to pull that off and push it up into his chest, but I can take that and then I'm going to plant my foot on the ground and I'm going to lift my knee up, and when I lift my knee, that can help move his hand up into the right position. And once I get that pinned into his chest, then I just reach through and I grab my own hand, or I grab my own wrist I should say, and now I've got him locked up deep in the Grapevine Grip. So once I get here, my options are much like they are for most positions: sweep or submit. Today we're going to work on sweeps. The big advantage of doing this is there's no post here, and if I start sweeping him in that direction without addressing this arm, I go to sweep, he posts, he blocks it. Maybe we've got some things to address that, but the better way to do it is to never give him an opportunity to post in the first place, which is what this Grapevine Grip does, is it isolates that arm, keeps it locked up against his chest, and keeps him from posting. So in terms of what we do, the most simple and basic way to sweep a guy from this position is just a butterfly sweep. So I'm already on my side. We're just going to do the same transition we did before to get a butterfly hook in place. But once I've got this, I need to make sure that I'm taking him at a 45-degree angle forward so that I can get the sweep rather than back towards the back, because Chris can still move his back leg. The front 45-degree angle is where the post is gone. So I flip him that way, and then I'm going to come over into mount. Now, you can't really see it from this angle. I'll show it from a different angle, but I'm actually over top of this arm. That's going to set up a couple of submissions later on, but either way, it's a very easy transition to mount. So, looking at it from the other angle, I've got my lockdown in place. Maybe I slide this knee through, grab, can't see the grip from here, but I've got my Grapevine Grip in place. This is going to come out, insert my butterfly hook, just like we did in the butterfly transitions video, and then very simple and easy transition to mount, and I've already got this arm covered to start setting up good submissions. That works well to take the guy in the most obvious direction. We can also go in the opposite direction. This sweep is a little bit more difficult to actually pull off. Typically where I get this sweep from is where I've got somebody who is both big and they're also doing a good job of taking that elbow for the hand that I have trapped up against the chest and keeping that out. If you get a guy who's big enough and strong enough, sometimes guys can use that elbow as an effective enough post that it makes that particular sweep difficult. Where I'm going to catch them at a sweep is one that I've shown in an earlier video, where they realize that they don't like me out on my hip that much, and so they try to square back up and square their hips back up. And then when they do that and they slide their hips back over, I'm going to use that momentum against them and then switch, butterfly hook on the opposite side, leg chop, and then I take them over the other way. So let's take a look at that. Lock down. I've got my overhook. It's on his chest. Maybe this time I went out here. I'm stick shifting Chris. He doesn't like that. So he tries to pull his hand back in. I reverse the pressure, stuff it, and now I take my Grapevine Grip. I've got him isolated. I'm going to pull my butterfly hook here, but Chris is doing a really good job of keeping that elbow out, and I just can't get any momentum on him for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push, and I'm actually pushing him back to give him something to push back on so that he'll square his hips up. When he goes to square, I come out and you'll see this butterfly hook just went into place. This one is going to chop as I slide my hips back underneath of him. Underneath, chop, elevate, and then he goes back over the other way. And we end up in the same position, sort of this mounted position where my grip is still in place and I'm over top of the far arm. All of that is, frankly, the coming up over top of the arm, it's less important for today's video in terms of getting the sweep. If I get the sweep, it doesn't really matter if I'm on top of the guy's arm or not, but in terms of setting up submissions, that is where you want to end up, because there's 2 submissions that come on really quick and really well. I guess 3 if you kind of go plot it, but we'll talk about that later. That all come on from being over top of that far arm. So that's where I want to come up. So that's my Grapevine Grip. Like I said, really like that. You can hit it from a variety of different guard styles. Full guard, half guard, lockdown, whatever it is. It's there. It's just a great way to tie your opponent's arms up for a little while. So play around with that, see if you like it. If you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps me out a lot to help YouTube show my videos to as many people as possible. And also remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can see a notification every time we upload a new video. We're going to have a little bit more stuff on this Grapevine Grip, and we're going to start moving on into some top half guard stuff. So stay tuned.